In today's society, a majority of households have many devices for streaming, whether they be computers, televisions, smartphones, or tablets. This allows you to scroll through Instagram while your mother watches her favorite show on TV, your father is watching the race on the tablet, and your brother is playing video games in his bedroom. The technological advances of today's society allow me to be sitting in the same room as my family members by cutting off all communication with them completely, basically ignoring them. Our great-grandparents and grandparents hoped to never live to see the day that TV became something that distracts families from each other. But now the notion of a whole household owning just one TV that forces them to watch the same program together at the same time seems downright old-fashioned. It's not just at home with family. This happens while hanging out with friends, communicating with a partner, and interacting with other groups of people during our daily lives. Social media has brought people together from across the world while shutting out people right in front of us. Social media is a relatively new technology, and researchers are just beginning to understand its impacts. So far, these impacts are not all good. Nonetheless, the potentially harmful platform is used by 72% of Americans. Early research suggests social media users are at a substantially greater risk of experiencing anxiety, depression, and other physical ailments due to their usage. The creators of social media platforms make these platforms addictive by developing algorithms and formulas to capture and hold the attention of the users, which results in increased screen time. When a picture, video, or tweet is posted, the person posting is unsure how many people will engage. In order for the person to reach a sense of gratification, they may be in need of reaching or exceeding the number of notifications that their peers receive. This keeps them engaged. The platform also creates the constant need to check for notifications about events or activities in which their peers are engaged. This is known as FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This is all occurring during the time in which teens are still in their developmental stages, where they're trying to find themselves and express themselves. Adults are not developing and are still having trouble with their skewed and altered realities of social media. Therefore, its effects are potentially greater for teens. With an increased constant need for social media, many teens develop poor sleeping habits, such as decreased, disrupted, and delayed sleeping. Lack of sleep is linked and associated with many of these mental health conditions. Social media has also been proven to play a role in social isolation, which decreases the face-to-face interaction that is essential for good mental health and vital for survival. Mental health issues, depending on the severity, can become debilitating to everyday life and relationships among friends and family. Social media also creates a distorted view on appearances and the reality of the world, which contributes to the anxiety and depression experienced by many of these users. Posts can be manipulated and edited, and many posts contain the highlights and most admirable parts of the user's life. Rarely are the low of lives posted, making people feel as though they are alone in their suffering. This may lead other users to begin feeling as though they should change the way they look, dress, or the activities they engage in to seem more appealing to others. Along with this, other people may start to isolate themselves from the people they care about most and the people that care for them. It then becomes more about the likes, shares, and views than the sharing and cherishing the moments of life that make you the happiest. It creates a sense of vulnerability within teens and adults that may already be struggling with their appearance or lifestyle. In the United States, in 1944, a study that would now be considered horribly unethical was conducted with infants to determine whether individuals could thrive alone on basic physiological needs without affection. More than half of the 40 infants died as a result of the study, revealing importance of human interaction. It seems that again, although in a less intentionally dramatic way, we are again experiencing on children. With the uptick in social media use, there has become a less of a logistical requirement for face-to-face interactions with friends when we can communicate from the comfort of our own homes. But the need for those social interactions still exists. In recent studies, it was shown that levels of depressional symptoms increased 33% in high school students, and the suicide rates increased 65% in girls of the same age group. More horrifyingly, children's suicide rates increased 150%, and self-harm nearly tripled among children. Along with this, cyberbullying and online harassment has increased by 59% in U.S. teens. With this being said, it is not a hyperbole to say that social media is potentially life-threatening. Of course, thankfully, not every person who logs onto TikTok is affected so profoundly. The majority of us are doing just fine, or are we? Every one of us who communicates online is impacted to some degree. All these factors, even when not taken to the extreme, affect the dynamic of relationships, both platonic and romantic. My family is very important to me, however, my family is very important to me. Therefore, it is important to have a strong and stable relationship with them. According to Family Dynamic Institute, in order to have a successful relationship, communication is important and is accomplished through building trust. This can be accomplished through small vital things as well as having deep and meaningful discussions. It's most important to have uninterrupted conversations, and this can be guaranteed by turning off your smart devices. Furthermore, social media can create barriers and tension among families if there are controversial topics posted. This happens in romantic and intimate relationships as well. Social media has been documented to increase jealousy within relationships. Online dating has become a source for people to meet. However, this brings a new aspect to dating. Without meeting a person face to face, we are now able to learn things about a potential partner's life through their social media platform. It eliminates the initial stage of dating where we get to know our partners and build the trust needed for successful real-life relationships. Their posts may also be enhanced and edited. Therefore, it is not accurate representation of the person that you're meeting. The person could also be a completely different person, so it is important to have in-person meetings to get a better sense of the person before outwardly rejecting them. How many of us know grandparents or people of older generations who've been married for decades whilst sharing endearing anecdotes about how they initially had no interest in each other until fate pushed them together? These stories would be vanished if Grandpa's wife left because Grandma had an eyebrow hair out of place on her profile picture. It is also seen that throughout the current generation of teens and young adults, there has been an increased reliance and need to be with other people, but this is only when we can keep them at a distance too. This allows for more control over the amount of time spent together, what is said and done, and the amount of time and attention we give the other person. Relationships on demand. Technology allows us to put our attention wherever we want it. Always be heard and seen, and never be alone, thereby creating the constant need. One more thing about teens and social media that is often overlooked by all this negative talk. Our generation hasn't chosen this. So often we hear that teens just want to be on social media, choose to spend all their time on the screen, only want to be in the virtual world. I don't remember choosing this. It was the world we were born into, a world that has just existed and evolved throughout my life. If my friends and I want to be social, media is where we turn to. If I were to log off for a day, I would feel out of touch with many of my friends that use social media as their only source of communication. But imagine being forbidden from your parents from having social media. How out of loop would you feel then? Texting is seen to be outdated and rarely used by many, which may break the chain of communication between friends. So, what can we do? If your relationship, whether intimate or platonic, is being harmed by your usage, it may be insightful to begin limiting the time spent on social media. There are 4 main steps to begin cutting back on time spent online. Step 1, limit usage. Step 2, change your focus. Step 3, spend more time with friends and family. And step 4, express gratitude. By taking these steps, it allows you to spend more time in the real world instead of being caught in the vicious cycle of the virtual world. Walking through the school halls, many middle schoolers dramatically say, "I'd die if my parents took my phone away." However, this statement is far from the truth of reality. Based on current research, it may be beneficial to the well-being of ourselves as well as our relationships to set down the phone for a while.